I happen to live in Maui. Oh. So welcome once again, Cary. So happy to have you here.
Thank you so much, Michelle. Hey, someone's got to do it. So I decided I'll rough it out.
Someone's got to do it. So we're going to be talking today about doubt your way to your dream relationship. So before we dive into this in more detail, Cary, tell me and tell our audience why you chose this topic. And let's just start right there.
For sure. Great question. And let me take it back a notch, quite a notches, in a sense of because the person that's showing up here today is not the person that I was 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 35 years ago. It's been a rough road for me, Michelle, to get to where I am, and mostly from here, mostly from my mind's patterns and thoughts and the chatter that was going on in my head since I was a kid. I heard you stink, you're worthless, you're no good, you'll never really experience your dreams, all of this stuff. And it just got more and more intense as I got older and older and had more passion and more success in different ideas, in different areas. Certainly, some folks know I'm international drummer percussionist as well. And that's really where the pain started, the doubts started, because I was blessed with a gift of music. And very early on, I started playing drums and percussion. And by the time I was 15, I was playing professionally. And, by the time I was 19, 20, I was traveling internationally, touring and recording around the world. All of those things were great. But I tell you, in my head, as all those things were going on, Michelle, it got worse and worse in my head. It's like a duality. The more the success I achieved, the more pain I was going through in the voice in my head. And so I learned some secrets. I learned what I call to turn the doubt inside out. And I came to realize through a long journey that all that negative chatter, all that negative voices, like you stink, you're worthless, you'll never make anything of yourself. Let's just put it in, you'll never have love. You'll never find the relationship you really want. Just in those two, okay? Because I had those as well. Let's look at them. What the mind is really saying, what the subconscious is really saying, it's testing our resolve. It's testing our own belief system, and in some cases, it's exposing our limited belief in ourself purposely to test us, to kind of press in a bit when it says you can't have love. And what's happening, it's really saying you can have love. But it's really saying, I dare you to push in. I want you to push in. Would you please push in and turn this around? But where do we get that? How do we see that? No one in my world was modeling that thought or modeling that thinking. And I tell you, I only came to that thinking through years and years of pain. And I finally said, let me interrogate my mind's thoughts a little bit more, because I've been doing a lot of therapy. I've been doing a lot of meditation, yoga, and all this stuff. And it's all helped, but it hasn't stopped. So I started to pay more attention to those thoughts. And I just said, what if I turned it around? And what if when I hear you can't have love, it's a message to tell me, oh, I can have love. And I was like, oh, how does that feel? And I'm asking everybody who's watching this, how does that feel in your body? Regardless where you are right now, like if there's some limited thought, like you can't have whatever success you're wanting. And in this case today, we're talking about love. And, you can't have the love, the deep love you're yearning. And then you just put it in, I choose to have that love. I can have that love. I choose to have that love now. And doesn't that change the feeling in the body? So there's much more to this, but this leads me into a thought. This leads me into a piece that I'm really excited to share with you, Michelle, is that every day is a new day, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it may look kind of new. I mean, the same in some cases not. Or, the seasons take a while to transition, but in overall, the days look kind of similar. And yet they are not. We don't ever say, we don't ever have January 1st, over and over and over again. It turns to January 2nd. So why do we show up almost the same person that we did today, that we did 2 weeks ago, that we did 3 months ago, that we did 3 years ago, that we did 30 years ago? It's an interesting question, right? We are literally new palettes to experience every day. And even if you don't believe that, even if you haven't thought that, wherever you are, I'm just inviting you, think about it right now. And what does that feel like to go, oh my gosh, what would that be like? Every day, like I go to bed and it's a fresh new day. It's an empty palette of how I can experience the day. What do I really want to do? And if you start looking at that way, why would you stop? Like, what's in your way, right? What's in your way is the old junk, the stuff that, that you've lived with, and your beliefs and your experiences that possibly have not been good. And, if they haven't, I empathize with you. I'm the poster child for doubts, believe it or not. Like, you don't necessarily see it on me at the moment, but I lived in hell. So I understand what it feels like. And I understand now what it feels like to be out of it. And it is my desire, passion, mission, why I figuratively wear my sneakers to bed every day, to be of service and help to others who want to transform this, who seriously want to transform this. So I hope some, most, any, even one of you who are watching this, even one is like, yes, 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 I want out. Please, I want out. Well, I want to ask you something. I'm going to say 2 phrases, and they're just really interesting. I want more love. And then the other phrase, I choose more love. There's only one word different in both phrases, right? I want and I choose. And I hear and meet a lot of people who want love, who tell me, who I coach them, and they're in pain. They've had challenging relationships. They've had abusive relationships, and I want to help them. And I step up to choose to help them. But then I ask, are you ready? Do you choose to have this love now? And it's words. Right. So it's like, okay, some even say, oh my gosh, it's kind of scary to even say that, Cary. And I get it. Mm-hmm. But I go like, oh my gosh, but it's just words. But that shows me, there's a lot of material here we need to clear. Bring in the bulldozer. We got a lot of work to do. Now, I ain't afraid of any of it. And the good news is, through the process and things that I see and do, it can be cleared out really quickly. And yet you still got to do it. And then there's the others who, are ready for this love and are like so excited, fired up. Yes, yes, I want to release this pain. I'm ready to have the love and the relationship of my life, of my dreams. And I go, wonderful, wonderful. But when you choose real love, you better be prepared. And I'm just, I'm more the pie in the sky guy. I'm more the positive guy. I'm more like, life is good. And I'm a realist. It's like, because I've touched the truth of climbing the real love. And what I'm about to say is that if you dare to go to love, you're playing with fire. And that fire will burn you, or fire you up and cook you the most incredible, juicy meal of life and food and all of this. And it's only going to burn you if you stop there'll be, the fire is only going to toast you. It's only going to come at you to, again, get your attention. But if it's, like in the pain in the heart, or you're finally breaking through the walls of love, of the hardship of, you want this loving relationship in your life, and you want to have that happen. And it's like, but and you start taking action, and you start getting assistance through coaching or books or other things, or hanging out with others who are, who can help you. It's not going to be an easy journey. It's just a reality I see. It's not that it has to be so hard. I'm just saying, get real. And if you're ready for that love, you will have it. And the difficulty of that, the challenge of the pain of that fire, it's not going to last long. And it's actually, again, I want those to hear me to understand what I'm saying. I'm not being negative. I'm not telling you like, oh my gosh, you're going to have even more pain by going through stuff. No, that's not what I'm telling you. I'm telling you what you're about to face as you pursue more and deeper love. Before the really good stuff happens, you got to come up against the wall of where you've gone to up to that point in time. And up in that wall has all your doubts, fears, insecurities, all the experiences of good and bad. But in this case, it's trying to mirror to you the kind of quote unquote negative ones, to harm or hurt you, to say, no, you can't go through this. No, that's not what it's doing. It's saying, I want you to be transformed. I want to help you get through the other side. In order to do that, I'm going to push up against you as a gatekeeper to say, you just can't enter here. No, you got to be prepared. You got to know what you're doing, because this is fire. Love is fire. And, parents with kids like, hey, don't buy the fire, kids, because they don't know. They're just in the glow. Wow, this is beautiful. They don't know it's going to burn their hands. And it's kind of like that when we are going for love, this real love. We don't know it's going to burn us. We never imagined it would. But again, it will not burn us if we come to it with the right idea, and to know and realize, if I hit that wall, that negative thought or the negative feeling or a voice in our head, or we feel that fire, it's just glowing to say, oh, so you want more love, do you? Please come. Let's transform this. Let's have tea. Please be honest with me of all the pains in your heart and all the lack of disbelief now. Let's transform these things so you can walk in the paradise of real love. Because the divine God, whatever we call this space of life, this experience that we're having, it really just wants us to be in love. And then you got to go, wait a second, Cary, you just said, what are you talking about? First moment you're saying, there's fire, and now you're saying all this wants to support us and be in love. Yeah, it does. That's why it comes up. That's why the subconscious is incredibly loving, is incredibly empathetic. And it knows how to trick you and how to trick each and every little person, every person up. But it's only doing it to get you where you want to go. Because for most of us, if we didn't have the doubts, the fears, the anxiety, the negative experiences, or we say, okay, I'm finally stepping up. I'm going to choose love. This is my day. This is my hour. Michelle has helped me and all this, and I'm ready to do it. And then it comes crashing down like, you can't have this. It's only doing this. Please, please, please don't stop. Don't give up. Don't be negative. Don't think like, oh, it's not possible for me. See, because I heard this negative voice. No, it's not what's going on, folks. What's going on is saying the reason for any feeling of that negative fire I spoke about is because you're on the pathway. You're right on the doorstep of the love. And your subconscious is training you to welcome you into this land of incredible ambrosia, of juiciness in every area of your life. So, but you need tools. You need some tools to deal with that. And there are definitely ways and things to do it. Right then and there, going back to where I started, this phrase, I want more love, or I choose more love. Just making that choice to say, I choose more love now. That is an incredible, one of the most powerful tools of the inner game of mastering and transforming yourself than I have ever come across. When you say, I choose to have more love now, or I choose to have more joy in my life now. I choose to attract or manifest the most beautiful lover and relationship in my life now. Are you getting this, folks? Do you make sense? This phrase, you can put whatever you want in, but I choose, put in what you want, and then now. It's one of the most powerful phrases I know for, like you said earlier, for a relationship world I work in and day out with folks. I also work in elite athletes and business people. And it's the same, I come up against the same doubts and fears. It's just a different flavor, depending on who I'm talking to. And when they choose to have more success or more love in their life or whatever it is now, it happens. It's amazing to me how it happens. And I want to invite every single person that's listening to this to really, really consider and really make this time to, you're here because you want more love. Okay. So let's do it. It's not that difficult. After all I said, it's really not that difficult. It's simply new. It's new for you. It's a new day. Show up new, show up refreshed, show up ready to clear out whatever the old is in the way. And if you need coaching, if you need therapy, if you need hugging the pillow, if you need crying, and hugging people and things for days and weeks, go do it. But keep going, because you will get it. And how do I know? Am I just speaking, just blah, blah, blah nonsense? No, because I'm a testament. My life, my experience. When I was a kid, I didn't talk. I mumbled. My father used to call me, hey, Mumbles. My 7th, 8th grade teacher wrote to me like, hey, Cary, at the end of the year, I saw this I found this yearbook a few years ago. It was like, I've totally forgotten. It said, dear Cary, it was a pleasure to have you in the class. Even when you spoke, you were quiet. That was me, because I was so much drowning, Michelle, in my doubts and fears and insecurities. And it's taken me a really long time, but now I'm a different person, and everyone could be a different person. And there's more to it, the tools and things of what I can share, but this is the essence. It's really the main core, the beginning turning of all of this is a choice. And I'll say one other thing, because I didn't expect to chew your ear off, because you have great questions and great insight, but I don't know, here it was. But I have one other thing to share that, and then, we take the next place. You and I both, coach a lot of people, and have gone through helping a lot of people. And I'll speak for myself. At times, there are a good handful that don't get where they should be going, and it frustrates me. And I talk to them, and I tell them, and I'm honest with them. And I share my concerns, and, they're just not yet ready for whatever reason to show up new, to believe in themselves to the point of, I'm going to do this. And why it bothers me is because I know their pain. Like I'm not in their bodies, but I can relate to their pain. And it's like, oy vey, like it doesn't have to be this difficult and ongoing, no matter what your story is. And I have helped and know lots of people who have had really terrible stories, and we've gotten through it, and they've gotten through it. And they're off and running. They're having incredible relationships, and they transform those painful things. So it really bothers me when I don't see people transform, and we kind of, finish the work together, that whatever we're doing, and I tell them, like, hey, there's more to be done. Whether you do it with me or someone else, here's your recipe. Here's what you got to work on, but it's up to you. And then I say, I'm going to check back with you in 3 or 6 months or a year. I want to see how you're doing. And more times than not, when I call them and talk to them, I hear I'm exactly where I was, Cary, when we stopped. And it hurts me, because I'm like, you're wasting precious time. But then it's like, okay, that's your choice, and that's your journey. Now that's for someone else. I hope it's not for you listening. And that's why I'm sharing this, because I know we both know, and others that you're speaking to know this pathway. I'm sharing with you to harm or hurt you. No. To give you negative story. No, I'm giving you this. I'm giving you, like, the whole deal. It's a choice. And if you don't make that choice, you're going to be like the people who do not get the success. It's simply a choice,
Mm-hmm.
And I'll just wrap it up. When you make that choice, what I was sharing, be prepared for the fire to come to test your choice, to make sure you're committed to your choice and you really want that love. And if and when you choose that, I say to you, more than likely, you're going to need some help. You're going to need someone to be around you to do this, because this is new area for you. And in whoever that might be, or however it might be, please seek it out, because I want you to get to the end of the line. I want you to have the end result. But for most, just facing that lion of fear is enough for them to shut it down and go, oh, not for me, not this time. And it's like, no, it is this time. Life is precious. Every second's precious. We don't get a moment back. And people leave in our lives, and we leave eventually in our life. And I'm just sharing, please take advantage, especially, before we were talking, right, Michelle, you were sharing a lot of people have been challenged through COVID. And I agree with you. This is more than ever the gift, the opportunity, the invitation to say, do it and screw it. Like, man, I've been locked up in my house for 2 years and I want to live joyfully, peacefully. My intention anyway for you, live with kindness in your heart and for others, because others too are in pain as well. But I'm just going to be, go a little sideways here and then we'll come back. But they may not be aware and in tune with their pain. So they may say things to you that are not right or strange. They may look at you strangely. They may act strangely. These kind of things going on in the world. And the biggest part is we need to have compassion and empathy to go, forget trying to be right to that person. Look another level and go, that person's in pain. And however I could just say to them, God bless you. I hope you find love in your life as we're doing it. I hope you're enjoying your life. And instead of trying to fight the fight, because they're in the fire right now. And many people are. And it's not pretty, but it's wonderful to give us the awareness. We're all in that. And this is an amazing time. Comfortable? No, but amazing time. And there's so much opportunity in so many areas. And I'm just excited to share this, what I have been doing with you here today. So again, I apologize. I'm not normally this ear chewer, but please let me. And what am I saying? Does it make any sense? Is it resonating for you, Michelle, or am I talking off my ear here?
No, there's so much there. There's so much to to kind of put the emphasis on, put the exclamation point on. You and I were talking briefly before we started recording about the power of our minds and the power of our words. And I believe that we are actually creating with our words and with our thoughts. And so they're incredibly powerful. And in fact, when you said the two little distinctions, the choose, you had, I choose to have more love in my life now, and you add the now in. Those words struck me as absolutely being very powerful, because I do believe that we have more choice and more power in our lives than what we often recognize, far more than what we often recognize. In fact, I have a group class, and I was telling the ladies in my Mr. Right Academy group not too long ago, I said, I'm not basing this on any theology or anything like this. This is just an imagination in my mind. But I had this imagination in my mind, Cary, that now my life is over and I'm standing there before God, and he's saying to me, Michelle, you could have had anything you wanted at any time you wanted it in your life. And I had this, I'm not saying I had a vision. I imagined this so vividly in my mind that it seemed real to me. And I thought, wow, I don't even know where that actually came from, but I felt like for me, that was like a moment of inspiration, kind of personal inspiration, that was telling me, you don't even begin to understand yet how powerful and how much you can impact the course of your own life through your thoughts, through your words, through what you're able to create based on the inspiration you're given, and what actions you would take based on that. And I shared that with the ladies because I was feeling like on that particular class, a lot of them were sharing a lot of feelings and thoughts of doubt and fear and lack and scarcity. And we've all had them. And Cary, you and I have had some candid conversations over the years about our own challenges and battles. And the two people that people are seeing here now, we have come through our own fires. And, one thing about fire is it can destroy and it can clear space for something new. What I really am hoping to say is your life is precious. This is not a dress rehearsal. And you want to have that life that has that spark of love and joy and passion and energy and excitement, and making the most of it. Because, these 2 years, we kind of feel like we lost these 2 years in some respect. But you know what? The clock didn't stop ticking on our lifetime, on our lifespans. This is not the dress rehearsal. This is the real thing. And so, I don't know. It's kind of like, I feel an urgency for my own self and for other people out there that like we got to grab onto the opportunity here, even if it's not perfect, even if there's still challenges, even if there's craziness going on in the world. Like you said, Cary, there's a lot of people out there in pain. There's a lot of anger, and there's a lot of people that are acting in ways that maybe we don't understand, or saying things we don't understand. But that compassion, that love, we can be a source of that. We can choose that for ourselves and be a source of that right now. And we can give that. And as we give that, it's going to come back to us in one way or another. One thing about almost every religion out there is some version of the law of the harvest, which is that we reap what we sow. And so something is going to come back to us. It may not come back in the way we expect or from the people we expect, but if we're out there on fire with love, it's going to come back to us in one way or another. Now I got off on a tangent, Cary. But as you can see, I feel really passionately about these things too. And I really think we just don't even begin to understand the power of our minds, our thoughts, our words. We're creating when we say that. So you want to make sure you're creating what you want.
Can I just speak to that right now? There's a neuroscientist, Dr. Andy Newberg, and he has said, like, neurons that hang out together fire together, neurons that, basically what he's talking about is your thoughts. And, even though there's a lot going on in neuroscience and we're understanding neuroplasticity, now we're understanding like The body is really plastic as well, like it's expanding, and basically you can talk to every area of your body and it will transform. We're learning this, but there's so much still in ways to learn. But the basic idea here that's happening is this idea that you have choice and you can make a different reality in your choice. From your choice, you switch your brain. The actual makeup of the brain gets transformed as you make these different choices of the neural nets of where you're patterning of the negativity. And then when you make consistent choices of saying what you're wanting and clearing, the roots, in a sense, of the negative parts pick up and they move to a different part of the brain where it inspires you and supports you to more positivity. This is what we are learning and seeing. And it's not like, woo-woo stuff. I mean, it's really there. And the most important part is forget what science may say and actually seeing that. Bring it right here, right now. Just say those thoughts and see what happens in your body. Like the thought of like, I can't have the love I want in my life. Just say that. Say it with me. You can say it quietly. I can't have the love I want in my life.
I don't even want to say it.
Okay, then don't. You don't need to. I will say it for you. Now, and see what where is the do you feel this in your body, and what feeling in your body, in a sense, is the energy going upwards or downwards?
Downwards.
I can't have the love in my life that I want. Now say, I choose to have the love in my life that I want. I choose to have the love in my life that I want now. Now, if you're anyone like what I'm feeling, the energy totally shifted. It starts going upwards. I feel lighter. I feel like, little tingliness in my life around me. And I hope you're feeling this too. We don't need to be neuroscientists to figure this out. Mm-hmm. We simply from those two phrases, then when we keep aligning to that quote unquote self-limiting thought, we keep hanging out and we start spiraling downwards. With that, I just want to touch on this great cartoon to share with everyone. Check out on YouTube, The Sunshine Makers. Okay, it's an really old cartoon, but gratefully someone did a remastered version of it. So it looks really good on one of the examples. And just watch it and see it's this duality of those who want to be sad. And there's these characters who are walking around, I want to be sad and things like this. And then there's these characters who are like, want to be happy. And there's a little duality that goes on there. I won't give it away, but check it out, The Sunshine Makers, and think about what I just said about doubts, of thinking it of the negativity, and then turn the doubt inside out. And when you do, you find there's two words in re-scramble the word. You get TOBUD, to bud, to grow, to blossom, to flower. And from that, when you turn the doubt inside out, you experience the joy. It's not what it's meant to be. So that's why I say doubt your way to relationship, to this love, because the more doubts you have, it's actually telling you you're closer to your success than you ever imagined, because it will not show up unless it knows, oh, I'm being tested by so-and-so, whoever it is, in your own self, and I'm going to send this message to you. Now, fine, you may not believe me, and you don't need to believe me. I tell people, don't believe me at all. Put it to your own test. That's what I care about. Be the scientist. Check it out. I know what the experience is like. I know what I've been like, and I'm not there anymore. And everyone who has ever known me from when I was younger go, who is this guy? And I'll take a moment, just to also just share crazily, I'm not doing this to impress upon myself, or what I'm about to say, I'm doing this to impress upon you the power of transformation. As I said earlier, I still perform a lot. And when I'm performing, I'm in heaven, like I'm enjoying it because I'm aware this may be the last time I ever play music. I'm really aware of that. I'm in touch with that. And I'm like, I'm going to give everything I got to this, to the music, to the audience, to paying attention, to giving the energy out to whoever's there, to the musicians in the audience. And I'm smiling ear to ear. And people come up to me and go, man, it was such amazing joy to not only hear you play the congas and percussion and what you do, but to feel and see you. And I go, thank you. And I also tell them, you have no idea the journey of pain that I've come to get to this point. And some who are ready, they go, oh, tell me more. And most don't. But I'm just sharing with you the transformation's available. I don't have, and I'm not something special. We're all special. And what I'm sharing is available to all of us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I want to kind of swing back around for a second, to Cary, if I can, and just ask a couple more questions.
Sure.
So I think for most of us, some of those thoughts that are so persistent that sometimes can be we can be conscious of, and sometimes they're more on the subconscious level. I think a lot of the times those stem back to messaging we got in our families of origin or childhood or things like that. And sometimes painful messages or painful stories that we made up around the messaging we got. So some of those things can be very deep and kind of insidious, because sometimes we don't even realize, we sometimes realize they're there, but sometimes we don't even realize they're there. And so if that's the case, if they're more on the subconscious level, like we're not as conscious of them rolling around in our heads, but we have a sense that something is holding us back, something is slowing us down, something is preventing us from living an extraordinary life. How does someone discover what's going on, or how does someone move through that? I'm asking a nuanced question to this.
Great question, and it's very real.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm right there with what you're saying, because growing up for me was not easy, and
Mm-hmm.
my parents loved each other, but boy, it was a war zone growing up in their home, because they just didn't know how to communicate. So I know a lot of people feel the same thing. They didn't have role models to,
Mm-hmm.
as much as I love my grandparents, they didn't know how to love and express their love, and who showed them. Very, very, very limited. And they're passionate, emotional people, and a lot was said. And I was a sensitive kid and still am, just a sensitive adult. Yeah, so we feel this. So how to turn it around? That you ask, it is a very nuanced journey, but to give some tools into that. One is begin to be aware of your body. Begin to be aware of the feelings in your body and where the intensity of these uncomfortable feelings are. And is there any, when they show up, are they connected to any phrases? Are they connected to any thoughts? Are they connected to any experiences you've had? And what are those? And like you said, sometimes you're not aware of them, and it's okay if you're not. It's not dependent on transforming this by knowing all these stories or these things, because some people have had very traumatic, inappropriate behavior actions onto them, and they don't remember, and probably they don't because of their own safety, because it was so emotionally traumatic. And I'm there. I'm with you. I empathize. And let's not stop there. Let's not put the period there. Let's not be identified by that pain or that story. Let's move forward and take the period and make it a comma or put an and say, I'm ready to move forward. And it may not be so easy. So the feelings come up, the thoughts come up. How do you address them? You start looking at them and accepting them. And here's the another big element, Michelle, is, I could have gone on throughout my whole life blaming my parents for who I was and how I was, my insecurities, my lack of confidence, and all of this stuff. Now I could blame them when I was a kid, but it started then getting into be an adult. It's like, hey, am I still in their house? Is the same stories back then still happening? And the answer is no. So I got to start taking ownership and responsibility, and then just say, and be kind to yourself and all that, because everyone's at different levels, but to start saying, oh, I'm responsible for these feelings. And I've actually always been responsible. What if I ask people to consider, I get it. I was there. Of the effect of parents onto us, especially when we're young and very, very impressionable in our emotional body. And things happen unconsciously that happen in some cases. And then there's got to be the point though, go, yeah, there's painful things here. I need to heal that. But what if it was me who wrote the story? What if it was me who, gave my parents the script to say, don't show me any love, no matter what. As painful as it's going to be, don't show me any love. Because why? I'm here as a soul warrior on this plane this time around, and I want to learn what it's like to find that love. When you start thinking of it that way, it's like, oh my gosh, wow, that turns the whole story inside out. And I know it's not easy just to go there. So if you find like it's challenging to go there, just consider it, because from here, when you take responsibility for your experience, now you have it. Now you can control it. Now you are no longer the victim of life. Now you can say, I see this package right here. See all this junk? Oh, I'm going to throw it out. And how I'm going to do that? Well, there's many ways. Again, like some do journaling, some do therapy, some do, different coaching. I share kind of a system that quickly turns it around, and I'm giving some of the elements here by first accepting it, this pain, take responsibility for it, and then say, oh, how about this? It's an opinion, not the only opinion. What I mean? Oh, I can't have any love. Okay, I get it. Ow, I get it. Ouch. But then I say, right? That's painful. But then I say, listen to it. But I say to it, what if it's only an opinion? Now, right? I'm not saying it doesn't have a truth to it, but I'm also saying if we can accept that and honor, I can't have love, then the other side of the coin, right? Like Uncle Albert Einstein said, for everything that exists in the universe has its equal and opposite. So therefore, somewhere out there, it may be hard for me to touch today, that I can choose, I can have love in my life. And when I share this with some folks, and maybe right now that are hearing it, it's like for the first time, like almost freedom. Wait, did you just say I can have love? Yes, I did. And they look at me like, what do you mean? Like I can see you can have it, but I'm so intensely stuck in my prison of not being able to have it. Yes, you can. And it's, sometimes people say it, but they say, Cary, I'm like acting. I can say it, but I don't believe it yet. I said, that's okay. That's where you are today. That's where you are this moment. One step at a time, but keep saying it. Here's the thing. Here's one of the most other amazing, powerful things, back to where we started today, Michelle. I choose more love now. I challenge you to say that every day, multiple times a day, for weeks and months, just even that phrase alone. And then come back to Michelle or me, and I'd love to hear from you and tell me how you are feeling then. Because the challenge is you will not be the same person. Mm-hmm. Like that is a powerful statement. I choose more love in my life now. Just that alone is going to do wonders of healing for you. Mm-hmm. And again, there's more to this, but that is right there. And people are like, oh, but can you give me something else? Because that's like so simple and easy. And so it just seems so like not a big deal. Okay, I get it. But make it a big deal. Say it over and over and over again, multiple times a day, every day, for a week, for 2 weeks, for 3 weeks, a month, 2 months. And when you say it, don't just say it like it's just like you're in church and doing the rosary kind of thing and just trying to get it as quick as you can. Nothing against church and the rosary. I'm just giving a fun example. But do it, intend it, feel it. I choose to have more love in my life and feeling now. I choose to bring forth and attract an amazing lover and relationship into my life now. Over and over and over. You will open the magnetism like a magnet in you, and you will attract this experience in your life. I guarantee it. So as I said, Michelle, there are nuances. I'm purposely, I want to share more, but I know that there are time and things, but I wanted to just go, there are many steps here, but I want you to give you the most powerful. This isn't the one and only thing, but this is a powerful thing. And if you do it, you will start to feel a transformation. I guarantee it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think it's incredibly empowering. And if the status quo is not where you want to stay stuck, I think one of our biggest enemies of growth and change and possibility is the status quo. If the status quo is not where you want to stay, what do you have to lose by trying something new, right?
Yes. And speaking of that, just real quick, we're not going to find the love on TV, folks. You're not going to find it in the news. You're not going to find it, where you're going to find. Now, what I'm meaning is like, yeah, there's some beautiful stories here and there you hear about. But what I'm talking about, sustaining love. You will find sustaining love inside your body by the consistent thoughts and choice. That's where you're going to find it. That's the secret. That's the gift. That's the most powerful thing. And as I said, I don't have a problem. I challenge you. Do this. Try it out. You tell me, write me back. Tell me, Cary, I did it for months, and Cary, you're full of you know what. It didn't move. It didn't change anything. Or Cary, wow, this has been powerful, and it has awakened other things. Yes, it's not the full and only part of the story, but it's a big part of the story. And more than likely, what I get from people doing this, they go, oh my gosh, Cary, this may be weird to say, but like, I started doing that kind of phrase, and all of a sudden, I'm starting to feel kind of this loving warmth in my heart. And it's like, am I okay? And it's like, of course you're okay. This is what happens. The love is wanting to awaken in your body, but we are the ones that has to do the calling to awaken it. Like that, not from wanting. Wanting will get you nowhere. I want more love. Forget about it. It's a negative statement. Don't believe me? Fine. Test it yourself. I'm not here to make one thing right or wrong. I'm not trying to judge anyone. I'm trying to give you the honest experience of what things are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you, Cary. I always love talking to you, and I love your passion, and I love that you're very authentic about sharing some of your own struggles and your own pain, because I think it's relatable to so many people. I think so many of us that do transformational work like this have come into it through our own pain, through our own journey. And I think that's part of what gives us the ability to have compassion and to be able to support and help others. And I really appreciate it, because I can always feel that when I talk to you. I can always feel that compassion that you have for people out there. So compassion and passion.
Yes, definitely. Can I share one other thing that's just also beautiful and I think is really poignant in this experience? So as folks, as you know, with me, of us connected and folks who have known me here or, for years, like know me that I was in a relationship for 24 years. I was married. My wife had passed on through a brain tumor. and went through years of figuring out dating as an adult, like a lot of people here are, been there as well. But I just kept focusing on the values and the qualities of attracting this person into my life, and would play with that every day. Would, for me, it was just like go swim in the ocean or go play basketball. And while I'm playing basketball and shooting or swimming in the ocean, I was calling her forth. And I was kept repeating like this, what the phrases I was talking about, calling forth the values and the qualities that I was calling forth. But one thing I wasn't calling forth that was a surprise, she came into my life, but she had 2 kids. And that was not my world, folks. I love kids, but I never had anticipated being a dad or having kids or any of that. And I was like, as soon as this relationship came into my life, I knew, dude, like, if you want this relationship, this is the full package. Like, she's coming with kids. Like, you got to step up. And are you willing to do it? And I was like, yeah, I am. I don't know what I'm getting into, but I am. And what I want to say, really what I'm getting at, all that's just preliminary story to our kids are young, they're 9 and 11. And I see with them and I see with their peers, and it reminds me about me of times when they choose to be in pain by their own thoughts. They hear a situation and they get all sad about it. And, it's like, okay, do you realize you don't have to do that right now? And how do you feel when you've made that choice to be, I don't feel good. It's like, so why are you doing it? And I get like, they're learning to not do that. And they're learning by us, kind of reminding them. And it's like, we're all learning in some ways, and I got it from learning myself, reflected, like, this isn't just natural for most of us in our bodies. We have to learn this. And so I share with the kids, like, hey, like, isn't there another option here? Like, you don't have to stay in this place. And why are you? Are you feeling really great choosing a negative thought here? And like, no. And it's like, okay, come on, let's do something different. And we do it, and then 5 minutes later in a different space. So, but we have to learn it. And being around kids, I really see that. Like, that's another level of compassion and empathy in me that I realize this is a learned quality for most of us in our evolution right now. And yet, let's learn it. It's no big deal. Let's learn it. So thanks for allowing me to share about that wonderful little experience.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that, Cary. I'm sure you do see that in children in maybe even a little different way, and gives you even deeper insight into some of those things that we carry forward into adulthood and how they affect us. And the reminder about being able to be in choice, so powerful. Yeah. If you took even one thing away from this conversation, for all of you that are listening, we also want to acknowledge you, because there's so many people in the world, and so many people go through their lives just kind of unconscious, right? There's so many people that never really have the intention of having an extraordinary life or extraordinary love, which is sad. But if you're here, you're not one of those people because you have a lot of choices on where you spend your time and energy. And the fact that you're here and exploring, understanding more about yourself and life and love and what's possible is a big compliment to all of you here. So we want to acknowledge that and thank you for joining us.
Oh, for sure. And it's a great step by you doing this. And, if obviously you're wanting love. And so I want to tell you all, no matter what you're hearing from me or Michelle today or anyone else that she's going to be interviewing, you're in the right place. Like, someone is going to have the right information that you're going to connect to, and run with it. Don't walk, run with it, and just commit to taking the next step. That's all you need to do, and take the next step after that. And you're going to experience more love in your life, but you got to walk the walk. Mm-hmm. So thank you for coming, for sure. And thank you for being here, because I know it ain't always easy. So appreciate that, like, and honor your own self. Like, hey, I might feel full of full of thorny, nasty stuff right now, but I'm here. I got here. That's beautiful. That's awesome. Now let's keep it going.
Yeah, let's keep it going. All right, Cary, thank you again so much for joining me. Really appreciate it. And thanks everybody for watching. We hope to see you for more. Bye-bye for now.
Aloha.